doing. We can do better. We can go higher. We can do things unimagined. We can become the leader on the African continent in the power sector, particularly renewable resources.
Industry players in the energy mix are well positioned to foster various aspects of going green, such as in education and financing, which are part and parcel of adopting unconventional means to a thriving energy ecosystem.
Students learn practical skills on solar power as we are a live laboratory. We have cut our water consumption by 80% on campus, and in general, we promote a no plastics policy.
It's testimony that we're all recruiting a new generation of leaders to take this industry forward. There's an emerging landscape of youth-led renewable energy companies that we must give energy to.
We, as Botswana Power Corporation, have facilitated the first IPPs. Later on, that function was moved to the ministry, where they are the ones now who are procuring renewable projects. The guiding principle here has been that we need to develop the least cost generation through the IRP.
Banking innovation solutions that are there. It's around green financing. And at ABSA, we are one of the first banks to spearhead listing our sustainable bond in Botswana Stock Exchange. And within weeks, that was fully utilized.
With all hands on deck, through government and private sector collaboration, Botswana's integrated resource plan is expected to take shape and deliver on a more sustainable energy ecosystem. Utsidile Ongabetsi, BTV News, Gaborone.
The leader of opposition and the Botswana Congress Party, BCP, Mr. Dumelang Sanishando, has announced that the BCP will be unveiling a shadow cabinet next week. He explained that the shadow cabinet will facilitate focused debates and help strengthen democracy by scrutinizing government policies and actions, as well as offering alternative policies. The announcement was made during the first BCP media briefing following the general elections. Mr. Sanishando also emphasized that as the main opposition, their primary objective is to hold the government accountable and serve as critics of the new administration. Furthermore, Mr. Sanishando updated the media on the Independent Electoral Commission IEC case that began a few days before the elections. He stated that the BCP Central Committee has taken a decision to report to the Secretary of the IEC for lying under oath and denying the existence of the Commission's website. As the main opposition party, Sanishando say they promise to stay true to their mandate in the 13th Parliament seating.
As the opposition party, we will be effecting some changes to the manner in which we've been operating as the opposition in Parliament. We will now be announcing next week a shadow cabinet that will be operating on the floor of Parliament. The BCP shadow ministers will be tasked with presenting alternatives to the BDP, with proposing changes that could make laws that are put before Parliament better, proposing a shift in policies that could help move the country forward. I'm spelling this, but the attorney or advocate representing the IEC court considered what was in the affidavit was not truthful. The IEC does have a website. So the party has decided, the leadership of the party has decided that we should report the secretary of the IEC.
The DBS Group Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Al Cook, has urged the Stanford Sea Transformation Program graduates to leverage the platform by to leverage the platform created by the program to generate more opportunities for other entrepreneurs. The program is said to be aimed at establishing a lasting legacy of prosperity for economies in the African continent. Cook made these remarks during the graduation of 18 local entrepreneurs. The Stanford Seed Transformation Program is one of the investment by DBS Group, which offers year-long leadership and management training, team workshops and networking support for Southern African entrepreneurs.
The program has been purposed to help local entrepreneurs to acquire special skills and allow them to collectively work together to create an enduring impact over the African continent. These entrepreneurs underwent rigorous 10 months training, during which they were equipped with essential tools to foster their growth and develop transformative business leadership.
Thanks to the Stanford program, you have the foundation you need to grow your business into a generational legacy that can contribute to the long-term stability and prosperity of our economies. You have a platform from which you can use the tools that you've been given and the network that you've gained to help create opportunities for smaller aspiring entrepreneurs, passing those benefits ever onwards. So what's our vision? Our vision is to develop an entrepreneurship ecosystem where companies support each other and work together to create a vibrant culture and a landscape that ultimately results in a robust and resilient private sector.
On behalf of the 2024 Stanford Seed Transformation Cohort, Ms. Matsidi Sokimunga expressed gratitude over the opportunity to forge sustainable connections to drive change in Africa.
We live with a very great sense of purpose. We understand that the success of our businesses is not only for us, it is for our team members, it is for our communities, and it is for future generations. Our businesses are not just engines of profits. They are vehicles of change, of empowerment, and of opportunity.
One of the business industry leaders emphasized on the need for graduates to explore opportunities beyond the borders of this country.
What we've been able to do is to take a company from Botswana and grow it regionally, and in our field, what we've been able to do is achieve #1 status in 3 different countries within the SACU region. And I think that all of you Stanford graduates of the past, I believe there are 90 graduates altogether, and the 18 that are graduating today, that these are the sort of opportunities that are out there.
The graduates were further implored to continue to grow and gain knowledge on different dynamics of doing business in the African continent for their efficiency. Geletleletswe, Somulekai, BTV News, Gaborone.
The director in the Ministry of Justice and Correctional Services, Thobo Letlare, says human trafficking is a serious crime, and as such, the ministry is concerned by increasing cases as recorded in 2023. Letlare says they found it fair to embark on an awareness campaign to train stakeholders in the Okavango region about the outcomes of human trafficking so that they could help identify indicators of human trafficking in their community. Tiny Tugudu reports.
Botswana is one of the countries which joined other United Nations member states in fighting human trafficking. Over the years, Botswana has increased its effort to address trafficking in persons and adopted a framework to prosecute and convict traffickers. An initiative of conducting symposiums with stakeholders such as judges, magistrates and police was introduced across the country to educate the communities about human trafficking. The workshop moved to Shakawe in the Okavango district, where other stakeholders were also capacitated on tackling human trafficking issues.
Human trafficking yo eketsegile mo ga rona jaanong se re se dirang go buisa diphuthego tsa kgotla.
Human trafficking cases have increased in Botswana, so we have embarked on consultation kgotla meetings. We indulge in workshops with officers, law enforcement officers, and all the stakeholders to collectively engage on the existence of human trafficking and how to combat it.
Gore re buisanye ka go gweba ga batho gore go teng mo Botswana ebile re ka berekisanya jang go hema. So at the end of this workshop, we aim to have a cohort of people that understand what human trafficking is, what smuggling is, and they can further take what they've learned here to their respective government departments and institutions so that they can continue to further assist government in combating human trafficking.
Trainees had their say on how they will impart their acquired knowledge with others. Post-mortem should be conducted to show if the person's organs have been removed or not, because if the post-mortem results are not known, we will never know if human trafficking exists in the country and our region.
Human trafficking,
I think it was beneficial for us to learn about such issues, more so that from these are things that we are seeing for that just happening in Trafficking. So it will help, especially now that since the training of trainees, I'll be able to raise awareness with my students and my colleagues.
Program Officer for International Organization for Migration, Ms. Maseti Mosasebele, said SIOM, they have collaborated with the government of Botswana on a 2-year project which is aimed to combat human trafficking. Taini Tukudu, BTV News, Shakawe.
In other news, Botswana have been implored to recognize and protect their ideas and creations. Addressing participants at an intellectual property rights workshop in Letlhakane, Botswana Accountancy College BAC Acting Head of Strategy and Institutional Planning, Dr. Jacob Holland, advised that they could make a living out of their intellectual property, thereby contributing to the country's economy. Sabaizin Tabuho with the details.
In 2022, Botswana formulated the Botswana Intellectual Property Policy that aims to promote IP governance framework for a conducive environment for the creation, protection, commercialization, and enforcement of intellectual property rights for creations and innovations. However, for this policy to succeed, intellectual property should be taught at school level and sensitize the business community on its opportunities.
To capitalize on this untapped creative potential, we must educate students, we must educate our teachers, we must also educate our entrepreneurs about the importance of intellectual property protection and foster a culture where ideas are nurtured, are protected, and ultimately commercialized. For Botswana, these tools provide a unique opportunity to diversify our economy, to stimulate innovation, and to create new jobs.
It is expected that those attending this workshop are equipped with skills on implementing the IP policy, hence benefiting from their creations.
Understanding of IP law, policies and strategy will change the way an individual, institution or business entity conduct its research and development. Go le ruta gore di talente o di thamo tse le nang le tsone lo ka di sireletsa jang gore kamoso le te le itshetse ka tsone.
Ra itse gore dingwe tsa matshelo a rona di ne tsa tsamaya gongwe ha go kgonega di le ko mahatsheng di busiwe.
These workshops are held annually across the country to sensitize Botswana on intellectual property rights, to safeguard creatives against the unlawful usage of their creations and innovations. Sevetsen Tebogo, BTV News, Letlhakane.
You're still with BTV News at 9 o'clock. The UNICEF Country Director for Botswana, Dr. Joan Maji, has called on all stakeholders to take full responsibility and accountability in advancing child welfare and children's education in Botswana. Speaking in an interview with BTV News earlier today, Dr. Maji said while the establishment of the Child Welfare and Basic Education Ministry signals a new chapter, it stands to benefit from the development of only stakeholders' club efforts to ensure empowerment and protection of children across the country.
Botswana is committed to child rights, and we are one of the signatories as a country to the Convention on the Rights of the Child. I think it is so opportune that our new head of state is actually a human rights lawyer I think the time is now for us, when we look at child rights, to look at it more holistically, not just focused on one sector, but to see the interrelationships and to hold ourselves accountable. I think much more accountability for each of the sectors that intervene and focus on social services that are focused on the child, to be held accountable and to report on what they have done for children to make a difference. But I think it's also important for us to constantly consult with children, get the voice of children, capture the voice of children from every part of Botswana to hear how they think we can better improve on service delivery for them.
Botswana University of Agriculture and Natural Resources, BOTSWANA, is set to host a monthly farmers market starting from December 8th. The farmers market aims to give Botswana, especially the youth, an opportunity to network, form partnerships and learn how to create business enterprises in the food production sector. This was said by the Vice-Chancellor of BOTSWANA, Professor Ketlogile Mosipele, as he briefed members of the media on the farmers market initiative.
The upcoming Farmers Market Day will create a platform for livestock auction and sales, as well as showcase other agriculture products and services. The platform will bring together farmers, vendors, BOTSWANA students and the community to enjoy fresh produce, live entertainment and family-friendly activities.
We believe that the establishment of this farmers market is well aligned with government's strategic direction and will contribute directly to the development of SMMEs in the agriculture and natural resources sectors. Entrepreneurship is one of BOTSWANA's 4 strategic pillars. As part of our implementation of this pillar, we nurture our students into future business leaders in the agriculture and natural resources sectors. This is realized through hands-on training, practice, and mentorship with some of our strategic stakeholders.
Going forward, BOTSWANA intends to hold Farmers Market Day on the 1st of every month.
Farmers by nature are more than often producing far from the market. This poses a challenge for many of them, as the market always lacks knowledge, as it has been alluded to earlier, about their products and even their domicilium, where they are coming from. We have heard this morning that BOTSWANA and its partners are here to close that gap.
If you've seen farmers markets around the world, people showcase from all the fresh produce that they make, from breads, from cheeses, from beverages that they make. These are all byproducts or value chains of the food industry. So our coming in is to make sure that the event, one, stays as food safe as possible. Secondly, it's as much of a good lifestyle as we have tried to bring into the market.
BOTSWANA aims to support small businesses through the creation of agri-parks and markets across the country, a meaningful contribution to the development of the agricultural sector, which is being looked at to revive aspirations of food security. BTV News, Gaborone.
In international news, in Baku, Azerbaijan, where the United Nations Annual Conference on Combating Global Warming COP29 is ongoing under the theme In Solidarity for a Green World, President of Zimbabwe, Mr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, says the theme is relevant, timely and urgent given the urgency of climate change. He says Zimbabwe is currently experiencing the worst impact of the El Nino effect, so much that they have declared a national state of disaster. Mr. Mnangagwa says the effects have led to severe drought, not just in Zimbabwe, but across the southern African region.
Zimbabwe bears the scars of climate change and is currently experiencing one of the most devastating El Nino-induced droughts in history. The drought has negatively impacted nearly every aspect of life in Zimbabwe. My government, in April this year, declared a national state of disaster. The crisis extends beyond Zimbabwe and is affecting the entire Southern Africa region. Our reliance on hydroelectric power has also made our clean energy supply precarious. These cascading efforts underscore the vulnerability of developing countries like Zimbabwe to climate change while contributing minimally to global emissions. The transition to renewable energy is non-negotiable, while a just transition combined with robust financial technological support for developing countries are critically important to drive the climate action agenda.
In the U.S., President Joe Biden has reaffirmed his commitment to support Israel during a visit by the Israeli President Isaac Herzog in Washington, D.C. Both leaders stressed the need to ending the war and bringing hostages home as top priority.
America has been Israel's biggest ally and it is its largest weapon supplier. During the visit, Israel's President Mr. Isaac Herzog said Joe Biden has been a friend of Israel and the Jewish people for decades. They will never forget how he stood up for them during their darkest hour. The visit could be the last ever by an Israeli official during President Biden's last tenure in office.
You know, my commitment to Israel is ironclad, and we share a deep friendship. I want to thank you again for being here, and the floor is yours.
First and foremost, we have to get the hostages back home. I agree. And it all starts in Tehran. It all starts in the Empire of Evil, where in Tehran, with its proxies, they are doing whatever they can to derail stability and security and peace, calling for the annihilation of the State of Israel and seeking nuclear weapons.
There has been reports of Israel refusing aid to enter Gaza. U.S. State Department confirmed there has been some progress made to solve the issue.
We've seen some progress being made. We would like to see some more changes happen. We believe that had it not been for U.S. intervention, these changes may not have ever taken place.
The U.S. had earlier sent Israel a letter warning that it had 30 days to take steps to improve the humanitarian crisis or risk being deemed out of compliance with the legislation that bars transfer of offensive weaponry to countries that block aid from reaching civilians. Laonela Hwale, BTV News.
Khosogonko is standing by to give us the latest in sport. Let me thank you, Khomoso, and good evening. This is Khosogonko bringing to you BOTSWANA Tonight Sports News, and with that, let's kickstart with the top story. The BOTSWANA Rugby's national team manager, Lion Warburton, says despite the few challenges they have, the Vultures are in good shape and ready to compete at the Rugby Africa Repechage tournament billed for Morocco next week. Warburton highlighted this in an interview with BTV News Sports Desk recently. Katlago Khakule has the report.
The team manager further said the Vultures, whose last match was on Independence Day when they faced Lesotho in Jwaneng, are happy with the progress they made during the 2 weeks training camp.
It's really tough for a lot of them, especially those who are working and have families, and there's a lot of guys based not in Gabs. So we have guys who travel from Polape and Maun and Jwaneng to come to training. So they have been unbelievably committed and they've worked really hard. So I think they have given themselves the best chance possible of being successful in this tournament.
For his part, the national team coach Tshwane Tsokatsi says they know it will be a tough competition in Morocco, and so they did all they needed to do in order to prepare for the 10 days continental showpiece.
We have confidence in our players because when the coach believes in the players will also believe in themselves. So it's there and there. It's not the team that we wanted to select because there's some few issues. Some players we couldn't select because of the passport or whatever. But we believe that we selected the best squad to represent the country.
Judging from the discipline from the 2 friendlies we played, I am confident that we have chemistry that will help us to have a successful tournament. The rugby national team, the Vultures, which is made up of 26 players, will leave for Morocco on Saturday for the Rugby Africa Repechage Tournament, which they are pitted in Pool B with the host Morocco, Cameroon and Madagascar. The team is expected back home on the 26th of November. Katlaho Kakole, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
Moving on, Botswana National Sports Commission has assisted the Botswana Badminton Association with money amounting to 100,000 pula in an effort to support the Botswana International Series 2024, which will be held from the 21st to the 24th of this month at Otse Police College. The tournament is expected to attract participants from 15 different countries. Sohofaso Malipa reports.
The Botswana Badminton Association has received financial support from BNSC following the submission of a request for assistance last year meant to support this year's tournament.
And we've been given the go-ahead by the BNSC. One of the ways they are proving this is by giving us the finances to run this tournament, and they have surely supported us in that regard. We have managed to secure these funds prior this event. All the details were shared with the BNSC. All the documents were submitted in time, and I believe our treasurer should be sitting on those funds as we speak. But it's not that much of money to run it, but we needed close to 120,000 or 150,000 to be able to do all that is required in this tournament.
Though the BBA has not yet secured sponsors for this tournament, this has not discouraged the association as they continue with preparations and are still submitting requests for sponsorships.
Unfortunately, we don't have sponsorship, but we are still looking and we are still crying out to them to say, please, we have international athletes coming to this country, coming to show our kids what it means to be an elite athlete in badminton. And we are saying, we are crying to them, support us so that we grow our grassroots development programs. We have these kids be able to participate at the standard that these athletes are bringing. We're talking about some of the athletes who have made it to the Olympics in the past, and we are really struggling in that regard to arrive to that standard.
The association spokesperson Thobo Tsosa has urged companies to get involved in promoting the sport, as their support could contribute significantly to the growth of badminton at grassroots level. Tsogfatso Malepa, PTV Sport, Gaborone.
Botswana Football Association has confirmed that President Advocate Duma Boko will be a guest of honor at the crucial AFCON 2025 Zebras qualifier match against Mauritania on Friday. Currently, the Zebras lie on second position in Group G with 6 points from 4 outings. Local lads need 3 points to make it to the continental biggest soccer showpiece finals slated for Morocco next year. The last time the Zebras played at AFCON finals was in 2012 when the tournament was hosted by Equatorial Guinea and Gabon. Kickoff time for the Friday match is 3 p.m. at Obed Dani Chulume Stadium in Francistown.
Through there's our stakeholders bonemba maesekele le BNC re khone gore ba ofisi ya ga taotona moeteledipele wa rona re Duma Boko o setsa confirmile jalo gore ba tla ba le mo Francistown go tla wa attenda match wa rona yana so ra ba kanya re malala laotswe gore taotona rona e rata le bone ba eteledipele ba bangwe ba ta go attenda one match wa rona ke re ke se le mo sambatsana gore motshameko o botlhokwa ebile motsana mo le mo sentse gore a ikiteletse pele a te ka lorato le go godimo a bare mebala ya le hase a te ko le baleng.
And that is all that we had for you from Botswana Tonight Sports Desk. Until we meet tomorrow, have a good night. Now, let's take a look at the backyards.
Government says Botswana is poised to be a hub for solar-generated power in the African continent. The main opposition party, BCP, to reveal its shadow cabinet to enhance debates during the 13th parliament sitting.
And in sports, the #1 citizen president, Advocate Duma Boko, listed the Zebras supporters to attend the Friday AFCON qualifiers match in Francistown.
That's all that we had for you in this bulletin. Rosa giving us the latest in sport. Topo Taposa giving us that interpretation in sign language. Up next is the weather update.
Good evening and welcome to today's weather forecast brought to you by Mpho Ishadar. Let's start off by looking at the rainfall amounts recorded this morning at 8 a.m. We have 70 millimeters at Kari Primary School, 65 millimeters at Mapoka Primary School, 42 millimeters at Kalakamati Primary School, 33 millimeters at Butale Primary School, 27 millimeters at Sasebe Primary School, 25 millimeters at Masunga Landfill. 23 millimeters at Francistown Rural Training Center, 20 millimeters at Malambi Primary School, 15 millimeters at Maitengwe Primary School, 14 millimeters at Chadibe North Primary School, 11 millimeters at Sonyawe Primary School. 10 millimeters at AK Lisa 30 Farm, 7 millimeters at Nyamambisi Primary School, 4 millimeters at Matsakham Primary School, 2 millimeters at Good Hope Metro Car Station and Jamataka Primary School, and some drops over Jojane Primary School. Now for the current satellite picture, clouds are visible over most parts of the country, and this bluish color shows developing thunderstorms which may possibly thunder or shower tonight in some areas of the country. And for tomorrow, cloudy conditions with possibility of isolated thunder showers are expected over southern southeast Gauteng, the whole of central northeast Chobe and Gamilan districts, while over Khansi and Kalahari districts, partly cloudy conditions are expected with possibility of isolated thunder showers. Furthermore, fresh to strong winds are expected over most parts of the country. Therefore, the public is advised to take necessary precautions. In the morning, hot temperatures are expected over Ngamiland and Chobe districts of 20 degrees Celsius, while over the bulk of the country, warm temperatures are expected ranging between 16 degrees Celsius over Tsabong and middle peaks to 19 degrees Celsius over Lepepe, Mahalape, and Francistown. In the afternoon, mild temperatures are expected over southern central and northeast districts, ranging between 23 degrees Celsius over Siloe Pico and Francistown to 24 degrees Celsius over Mahalape. For Kalahari districts, hot temperatures are expected ranging between 33 degrees Celsius over Veda and Tsane to 35 degrees Celsius over Tsabong and Middelburg. And over the bulk of the country, warm temperatures are expected ranging between 27 degrees Celsius over Letlhakane and Gaborone to 32 degrees Celsius over Tsade and Khanzi. Now for cities in Africa for tomorrow, clear skies are expected over Cape Town, while over Windhoek, Luanda, and Dar es Salaam, possibility of showers are expected with a maximum temperature of 31 degrees Celsius over Windhoek and Dar es Salaam. For Gqeberha and Antananarivo, few patches of clouds are expected, while over Nairobi, possibility of thunder showers are expected with a maximum temperature of 27 degrees Celsius. Continue with cities in Africa, partly cloudy conditions are expected over Addis Ababa, while over Khartoum, Cairo, Tripolis, and N'Djamena, clear skies are expected with a maximum temperature of 34 degrees Celsius over N'Djamena. Over Rabat, possibility of showers are expected, while over Monrovia, possibility of thunder showers are expected with a maximum temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. That's all I had for you. Have yourself a good night.
Coming up in this edition of Eye on SADC, Zimbabwe's president visited Azerbaijan Service and Assessment Network Company. Developed countries urged to remain committed to their financing obligations to mitigate effects of climate change. And the Electoral Commission of Namibia ready for special voting on Wednesday. Greetings, this is Eye on SADC with me, Samandikwa. Thank you so much for tuning in at this hour. In our top story, Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who is in Azerbaijan for the United Nations Climate Change Conference, has visited the Azerbaijan Service and Assessment Network Company, which provides public service and social innovations to that country's citizenry. The head of state was impressed by the technology and services being provided